With how popular Pokemon cards have become in the last year to year and a half, collectors are starting to wonder how they should be storing and protecting their cards. Back in January, I made a pretty in-depth video on how to protect your Pokemon cards or any trading card, and gave you different options varying from penny sleeves to top loaders to sealable sleeves to even getting your cards graded. But once you have your cards in protective sleeves, where do you actually put them? Hey guys, before we get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting my YouTube channel and watching all the videos and leaving comments and liking and everything. Really appreciate it, and it's been helping my channel tremendously. And if you're not subscribed already, or if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'm trying to put out videos as much as possible when it comes to trading card games, gaming stuff, how-to videos, and just plain vlogging. I like to vlog every now and then. I also stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/MxGlory. So if you want to see me open Pokemon cards, play games, or just talk about random stuff, you can head over to Twitch and follow me there. Alright, let's get into it. If you're a collector who loves to display your collection, then that's a viable option. And if I had the space, that would be my preferred way of doing it. But there's some things to consider before putting out your cards on a bookshelf or tabletop for everyone to see. First, don't display your cards out in direct sunlight, because the sunlight will eventually deteriorate your cards and the art on the card will eventually fade, and your card is just not going to be worth anything, even in a protective case. And second, keep them displayed in an area that can be easily cleaned, preferably in a display case or somewhere where dust can't reach them. Another way of storing your cards is to place them in storage containers. Now, storage containers can range from the tins that you get when you buy Pokemon cards, Elite Trainer boxes, or even BCW shoe boxes, to actual storage containers that you would normally keep your Christmas gifts and unwanted items or unused items. Regardless of what you choose, pick one that suits your needs and your budget. And if you go the Pokemon tin route, then maybe you can display your tins for your guests to see, whether it's a bookshelf or coffee table. Now, when it comes to my own personal collection, I use a variety of storage methods. And as you've seen in my previous videos and on my stream on Twitch, you'll know that I store my collection in Ultra Pro Deck Builders Premium Pro binders, and I store them in these binders for a few reasons. First, they're larger than the traditional 3-row binders, and the binders have 4 rows, which in my opinion makes your collection look better when you're viewing more of it at a time. Second, I use Ultra Pro penny sleeves to store my cards, and they fit perfectly inside the binder sleeve, which provides 4-way protection. And third, each binder has a zipper which protects them from the outside elements, and these binders aren't very cheap, and if you have a huge collection, then you might want to steer clear from getting these binders. But a good alternative is maybe going to your local Target and maybe finding those the 3-row Ultra Pro binders, and those would be perfectly fine. But you want to find something that has a separation between the front and the back. You don't want the cards touching back to back on the binder pages. Another option that you have for binders is anything with a D-ring. So it could be a 1/2 inch up to 3-inch binders, but you have to make sure it's a D-ring binder, because when you put the binder pages in there, when you close the binder, if it's a circle ring, the ring will actually indent your cards and damage whichever cards are near the spine. So a D-ring binder, which is flat on one side, will prevent that from happening. Your cards won't get damaged at all, despite however many pages you put in there. Just don't overload the binder with pages. You gotta be reasonable with how many pages you put. And when it comes to storing my bulk, I store them in BCW shoe boxes, and I currently use their 1600 count shoe boxes, which is a 2-row shoe box. And I used to store my top loaders in these boxes as well, but I've since moved them to a newer storage bin, which I'll get into in a little bit. But for my bulk collection, these shoe boxes are perfectly fine. Not only that, but I also purchased 2 BCW Card Houses that houses 6 shoe boxes each for a total of 12 boxes, which can fit a total of 27,360 cards. Keep in mind that the 1600 count that BCW displays on their website only applies to standard sized cards, so cards like basketball, football, and baseball cards. Since Pokemon cards are a lot thinner and smaller, you're able to fit a lot more, and if you want to store your top loaders in these shoe boxes as well, then you'll be able to fit about 300 in each box. As for my top loaders, which contain my vintage cards and all of my EX, GX, V, VMAX, and promo cards, I store them in a BCW Collectable Card bin, which I've done a review on if you're interested in checking it out. But in short, the bin fits 3,200 loose cards, or in my case, 880 top loaders. My one gripe is that the bin only comes with 4 partitions, so if you want to keep your cards organized even further, I suggest purchasing more bin partitions, which BCW sells on their website. And if those are too expensive, then a good alternative is BCW's tall card dividers, which come in packs of 10 and they're about $2. And I have a combination of the bin partitions and tall card dividers in my bins. And I use the tall card dividers to separate my sets and label them, so I know which sets go in which section of the bin. Now that I've given you some ideas on how you can store and protect your collection, whether you went with the tin option, shoe boxes, or the big storage bins, you still need to find a place to physically store them, and you really have only one option. Find a dry, cool area and store them. Keep them away from heat and moisture, and your collection will essentially last forever. So avoid attics that get really hot, avoid basements that get too humid, and do not store them in waterproof safes. Though it might seem like a good idea to store them in a waterproof safe, moisture actually builds up in waterproof safes and will ruin your collection indefinitely. So if you store your collection in a safe, just make sure it's not waterproof and you'll be good to go. If you have any further questions or you want me to go into more detail about how to store your cards and kind of go into the nitty-gritty of it, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and I'll get to it as soon as I get a chance. And guys, if you like the video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share the video, send it to anyone who collects trading cards. This should be pretty helpful and informative for them. And be sure to check out the protective video that I made back in January, which I talk about your grading your cards. I talk about penny sleeves, sealable sleeves, top loaders, different types of top loaders, team bags, all the good stuff of how you protect your cards. I used it all, and TLDR or TLDW, the best way to protect your cards is getting them graded. But again, getting them graded nowadays takes forever and it's super expensive, but it could be your only option, especially if you want to protect the really valuable cards that you have. Otherwise, the tips that I gave you and suggestions on whether, what binders, top loaders, and storage options that you have will be more than plenty to protect your collection. That's how I protect my collection, and it's been completely fine. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Peace.